Hello, hello. Welcome to Verbling. Hi there. I'm Teacher Oakley. Sorry for the little late start. I went a little late in the last class. Okay, for the next hour, time to strap in, knuckle down, because we're going to be practicing TOEFL speaking questions 3 and 4. Integrated questions. You've got to read. You've got to listen. You've got to make notes. And you've got to speak. These, in my view, are the most complicated speaking questions. There is a certain format which you should use. You should actually, basically, TOEFL wants you to use a more or less fill in the blank template, how they would like you to answer this question. Okay, I'll discuss that template in just a second. Let me just say hello to Juan Carlos.
Hello.
Hello,
How
hello.
are you?
I'm doing okay. Thank you very much. And hi, Diana. Nice to see you. Hi. Okay.
Are you listening good? Okay?
Can I hear you?
Okay.
Yes, I can. Am I listening? Well, kind of. Can I hear you? Yes. Okay. All right. Question 3, you're dealing with a conversation. Question 4, you're dealing with a lecture. In both cases, you will have reading first. You will be able to read a short paragraph, which is basically background information. Then you will hear in question 3 a conversation between two people where they will discuss this background information, and usually someone has an opposing opinion. Usually, occasionally they may support the idea in the background information. Either way, they're going to have usually two, occasionally 3, but usually at least 2 strong supporting points. You should definitely be making notes. If you guys today here in the class should have a pencil and paper with you. All right? I highly suggest. It's going to be very difficult when it's your turn to practice and actually practice speaking and answering the question. It will be very difficult for you to do so if you do not make notes. They're going to make a couple points. Actually, in the lecture, the same thing. They're going to make a couple points that agree or possibly disagree with the reading. And it's important to know those points because you're going to be speaking on that. Basically, everything should follow the same order. The information is presented, reading, listening, and then you speak. That's the same way. Okay, your notes should follow the order of the speaking. Maybe you would make a quick note about what you read so that when you're looking at your notes and speaking, you will remember to include that. Basically, here's the idea, more or less the template. You're going to first mention the reading, okay, and then talk about the points which are discussed in the 2 points either that agree or possibly that disagree. And let's see. Okay. And okay, you hear them talk. Basically, you're just reporting what she says. Okay, the woman expresses her opinion, or the man. Usually, it's a man and a woman. So you have to report what is said in detail. So, okay, you have a little more time to prepare for this than questions 1 and 2. You have 30 seconds to prepare. You also have more speaking time. You have 60 seconds. Okay. Basically, you follow the same pattern that they follow. All right. So, in other words, there is an announcement in the school paper. Be careful to look at the reading passage and know what it is. Is it a letter to the school paper? Is it an announcement on the library bulletin board? What is it? So you can say that. The university has announced a change to the parking rules. That's basically all you have to say about what you read. Just as short as you can summary of what it is, the background information. Then talk about the person's opinion, reason, her reason or her first point, and then supporting information. Second point, supporting information. And that's it. Okay, a little hard to understand, so let's actually practice. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Okay, this is basically what you might see. This is similar to what your actual screen would look like in the TOEFL test, if you can see this whole thing. I don't know if you can see the whole thing. Okay. All right, read the title, Hot Breakfasts Eliminated. Okay. All right, give it a read. All right, beginning next month, dining services will no longer... Why am I reading this? Juan Carlos, can you read this for us?
Okay. Hot breakfast eliminated. Beginning next month, dining services will no longer serve hot breakfast food at university dining halls. Instead, students will be offered a wide assortment of core breakfast items in the morning. These core breakfast foods, such as bread, fruit, and yogurt, are healthier than many of the hot breakfast items that we will stop serving. So health-conscious students should welcome this change. Students will benefit in another way as well, because limiting the breakfast selection to core food items will save money and allow us to keep our meals plans affordable.
Excuse me. Okay, very good. Diana, what is this?
I have to report the resume of the reading.
No. Just what is this? What do you think this is? Is this a publication
like
in New York Times?
No, it's like a memo for students in a university.
That's it. Just simple, right? And if you don't know, absolutely, you can refer to it as the reading. The reading suggests, the reading says, the reading states. Okay, as a fallback, you can also just call it the reading. Right, okay, the college has announced, a college bulletin announces, right, something like that. Okay, you have 45 seconds to read this. And by the way, Juan Carlo, you read this in about 25 seconds. So you are going to have time, and it should take about 25 seconds to read this. If you want to make a quick note with some keywords, think about your first sentence, then go ahead and do that. Because strangely, getting that first sentence out of your mouth when the timer goes off is for some reason, very challenging to many people. Okay. There you go. That's your background information. Now you're going to listen to a conversation. Actually, you would still be able to see this, most likely. Okay. Now, listen carefully, and you will hear the conversation about this.
Now listen to two students discussing the announcement.
Do you believe any of this? It's ridiculous.
What do you mean? Well, it is important to eat healthy foods.
Sure it is. But they're saying yogurt's better for you than an omelet or than hot cereal? I mean, whether something's hot or cold, that shouldn't be the issue. Except maybe on a really cold morning. In that case, which is going to be better for you? A bowl of cold cereal or a nice warm omelet? It's obvious. There's no question.
No, I'm not going to argue with you there.
And this whole thing about saving money.
What about it?
Well, they're actually going to make things worse for us, not better. Because if they start cutting back and we can't get what we want right here on campus, well, we're going to be going off campus and pay off-campus prices. And you know what? That'll be expensive. Even if it's only 2 or 3 mornings a week, it can add up.
Could you guys hear that okay?
More or less. Maybe it was yeah, because I wasn't able to hear. It was a little low. The
Yes. Could you put the volume up the next time?
yeah, I tried, but I had problem. But
Okay.
okay, it's okay.
Yeah, the problem is
I
that's as high as I can make the volume.
Okay.
Would you like to listen to it again? I can play it again.
Okay, I like.
Okay, it's better.
Okay, hang on.
Now listen to two students discussing the announcement.
Do you believe any of this? It's ridiculous.
What do you mean? Well, it is important to eat healthy foods.
Sure it is. But they're saying yogurt's better for you than an omelet or than hot cereal? I mean, whether something's hot or cold, that shouldn't be the issue. Except maybe on a really cold morning. In that case, which is going to be better for you? A bowl of cold cereal or a nice warm omelet? It's obvious. There's no question.
No, I'm not going to argue with you there.
And this whole thing about saving money.
What about it?
Well, they're actually going to make things worse for us, not better. Because if they start cutting back and we can't get what we want right here on campus, well, we're going to be going off campus and pay off-campus prices. And you know what? That'll be expensive. Even if it's only 2 or 3 mornings a week, it can add up.
Okie dokie.
It was better.
Okay. Good. Yeah, I was able to make a slight adjustment. Okay. Now what? Now you're going to actually hear the question. And the question is, what is the question?
The woman expresses her opinion of the change that has been announced. State her opinion and explain her reasons for holding that opinion.
Okay, actually the question is not important because the question is always the same. The question is always whoever's either in strong agreement or strong disagreement states her opinion, and you have to explain what is her opinion and why she feels that way. The question is always exactly the same. Okay, so there you have it. Diana, you want to give it a shot?
Okay, I have to talk about like a resume.
The question is, the woman states her opinion about the college announcement. State her opinion and explain why she feels that way. That's the question that you have to answer.
Okay. The woman is disagree with the college announcement because she said that is ridiculous because for her it's important a hot breakfast because of the cool weather and in the morning, for example. She said that maybe could be expensive to take her breakfast abroad of the university because she needs a cool breakfast, a hot breakfast.
Okay. Couple things right off the bat. The woman says, okay?
Says.
Yeah, not say. Definitely not the woman say. The woman says, I say, they say, he, she, it says.
In past. Said.
Said. Past.
Said. Yeah, said.
Okay. So what tense are you going to use right off the bat? Okay. You can use, it would be okay to actually use either, but you can use present tense. The woman says, da 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 da. The question is, what is the woman's opinion? And actually, this is true for all speaking tests. You should imitate or you should reply with the same verb tense that the questioner uses. So the question is, the woman gives her opinion about the college announcement. What is, not what was, what is her opinion and why does she think that way? Does she think that way? That's present tense. So you should answer in present tense.
Okay.
Okay. Definitely, and that is true for every test, IELTS, TOEFL, whatever. Always speak back with the same tense that the questioner uses. Good advice for any test. Okay. Now, all right. Okay, let's. Okay, that was pretty good. You were real close, but in order to really nail a perfect score, here's what you have to do. Actually, let me give Juan Carlos a chance. Actually,
Okay.
why don't you
Yes.
try the same thing? Okay, try to speak for a minute, basically. Okay, and all right, go ahead.
She was disagreed about that college announcement because she think that's ridiculous because uh, for her hot breakfast is better, and she doesn't believe uh, uh, cold breakfast be cheaper. That was I understood of
Okay.
the conversation.
Okay. I want to show you guys something. All right, you had a lot of time left,
Okay.
which you definitely in the TOEFL test you need to use up all the time. All right, guess what? I'm going to now answer the question. Let's see how I do. Okay. All right, listen to the way I organize this. Listen also to the way I use transitional words and phrases, how I use signal words to organize my speech. This is very important. And really listen to how I very clearly give a reason supporting sentence, reason supporting sentence. Okay, ready? Here, I'll actually time myself too. Hang on. Let's see how I do with the time. This will challenge myself. Okay. Okay. The college has announced that hot meals for breakfast will be eliminated. The woman strongly disagrees with this new position of the university. First of all, she addresses the issue of health. While the university says that this will be better for people's health, she disagrees, citing the fact that on a cold morning, a hot meal would in fact be much healthier. The second position that the woman takes issue with is the issue of money. The university says that students will save money. In fact, if they have to eat outside meals in order to get a hot meal, they will spend more money. Ding! Time.
Okay.
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 So I timed it right to the end. You can see the clock as you're speaking. All right. So time it right to the end. So notice how I organize that. Now, I have practiced this a gazillion times, so I know exactly how to do it. I say what's in the reading. I say what the woman disagrees with. I just state that she disagrees or agrees, depending. Then when I'm making notes, all right, here's my notes. Here's all I wrote. I'll share it with you. I don't know if you can see this. R1, health, dash, cold day. R2, money, dash, outside meals. I'm not making a ton of notes because I'm trying to listen. All I'm listening for is the very basic points. I have a clue because the reading itself will follow the same points. Okay, so the reading itself says, oh, it's healthier than most breakfast items that will stop serving. Okay, health-conscious students should welcome this change. So I see health twice in the reading. The woman also mentions health briefly, and then she talks about cold days and blah, blah, blah. Students will benefit in another way. Point 2, in another way. All right. That's a signal phrase right there. Will save money and allow us to keep meal plans affordable. Okay. The woman also brings up money. So my 2 points are right there in the reading before I even listen to the woman. Health, money. I'm listening for that when I listen to the woman. Is the woman going to talk about health and money? Is she going to reflect the reading? Well, 9 times out of 10, almost always that's what happens. Yes, she does. Okay?
Okay.
All right. And I refer back. Okay, she disagrees because the college says, but she says, and this is why. The second point is, notice I use first of all, the second point. This is very important to get a top score in TOEFL. You've got to use these signal words or phrases. All right, it's actually more important than your content. It's more important than getting the information right is saying, first of all, secondly, and then comparing. While the announcement says this, she disagrees because she thinks, all right, the language in between the actual information is more important than the information, actually, according to TOEFL. Maybe not according to me, but according to TOEFL. All right, let's move on to question 4. Dun, dun, dun. Whoops. Oops. Where am I going? Okay. Okay, here we go. Cognitive dissonance. All right. What is this? Okay, can you read this one for us, Diana?
Okay, cognitive dissonance. Individuals sometimes experience a contradiction between their actions and their belief, between what they are doing and what they believe they should be doing. These contradictions can cause a kind of mental discomfort known as cognitive dissonance. People experiencing cognitive dissonance often do not want to change the way they are acting, so they resolve to contradictory situation in another way. They change their interpretation of the situation in a way that minimizes the contradiction between what they are doing and what they believe should be doing.
That seems like a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Okay. Okay, luckily you do have 50 seconds, you know, if you need to reread this. It's understandable. Okay. Hopefully, in this case, the actual listening will be easier to understand than the reading. All right, we're going to try it out. We're going to give it a listen.
Listen to part of a lecture about this topic in a sociology class.
More volume, please.
This is a true story from my own life. In my first year in high school, I was addicted to video games. I played them all the time, and I wasn't studying enough. I was failing chemistry. That was my hardest class. So this was a conflict for me because I wanted a good job when I grew up, and I knew.
I can listen.
I was completely torn.
Me neither.
My solution.
What's that?
Teacher,
Okay, hang on.
we can listen. Could you put again and with more volume?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you because I could hear it loud and clear. It's really loud where I am. What was that? I'm sorry.
We can listen.
Okay, let me try it again.
On the volume, please.
I really can't change the volume. All I can do is adjust some other things. Okay, hang on. I can't change the problem is with the.
Or maybe you can read the. No.
Well, no, I can't. I don't have a transcript.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, hang on. Whew.
Part of a lecture about this topic in a sociology class.
This is a true story from my own life. In my first year in high school, I was addicted to video games. I played them all the time, and I wasn't studying enough. I was failing chemistry. That was my hardest class. So this was a conflict for me because I wanted a good job when I grew up, and I knew that if you want a good career, you got to do well in school. But I just couldn't give up video games. I was completely torn. And my solution was to change my perspective. See, the only class I was doing really badly in was chemistry. In the others, I was okay. So I asked myself if I wanted to be a chemist when I grew up. And the fact is, I didn't. I was pretty sure I wanted to be a sociologist. So I told myself my chemistry class didn't matter, because sociologists don't really need to know chemistry. In other words, I changed my understanding of what it meant to do well in school. I reinterpreted my situation. I used to think that doing well in school meant doing well in all my classes. But now I decided that succeeding in school meant only doing well in the classes that related directly to my future career. I eliminated the conflict, at least in my mind.
Okay.
Okay. Was better?
That was better. Okay. And now the question.
Using the example discussed by the professor, explain what cognitive dissonance is and how people often deal with it.
Okay. Now, much tougher question, right? Okay. So this is common by TOEFL. They'll have a lecture where the professor uses an example, a long example, to illustrate the reading. All right. Tougher one here. Okay, so you're supposed to use his examples to explain the reading. How are you going to use that? Basically, you're just going to talk about his example. Again, you're going to use the same idea. You're going to say what the reading is about, and then explain how. Basically, just you're doing reported speech. You're going to explain his experiment or his experience. In this case, his experience, and that's about all you. That's what the question is asking you to do. So that's what you're going to do. Juan Carlos, you want to try this one first?
Okay. It's about this guy. When he was young, he was to be he wanted to be a chemistry, but he mm, he had some problem with video games. He was addicted to that. So he he realized have some problems because he really liked to be a chemistry, but he he wasn't able to give up the video games. So they tried to change that, and the approach was focus on classes that had to do with the career he wanted in the future.
Okay, there it is at the end. Okay, you're in the ballpark, Juan Carlo. All right, but remember, half of your score in TOEFL is your organization. It's not the detail. However, one thing with the detail, he never wanted to be a chemist. In fact, that was a large part of what he was saying, is that he was worried about his chemistry classes, but then he realized that he didn't want to be a chemist anyway, so it really didn't matter. He wanted to be a sociologist.
Okay.
He
Yes.
never had any interest in chemistry, actually. So a little bit of the information is backwards. Okay, but more importantly, the organization. For example, start out by stating what it is. That's the first thing. Just like I did in the earlier example. Use the question to answer the question, your first sentence. All right? So the question was, the professor uses an example to explain cognitive dissonance. Explain how his example helps to clarify cognitive dissonance. Something like that. Okay. So starting out with something more like the professor uses an example from his personal life to explain cognitive dissonance. Boop. Then go ahead with everything talking. Don't just jump right into talking about what he said in his example and his experiment or whatever. You need a topic sentence, definitely. Okay, this is a very important point. In all questions, 1 through 6, of the TOEFL exam, you need to have a topic sentence. You can't just start out with the material. That will never do. that will probably end up with a score of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That will probably give you a 2 every time. You
Yes.
do not have to have a concluding sentence. That's not required for TOEFL. Topic sentence or introductory sentence, pretty much absolutely required. Yeah. Okay. Diana, you want to give it a try?
Okay. I start.
And a 1, and a 2, and a 1, 2, 3. Go ahead.
Okay. The professor used an example to explain cognitive dissonance. He said that when he was young, he was addicted to video games. He can't stop playing all the time. But for him, this was a contradiction because he wants to get a good job in the future. So he started to think about some materials in the school that he said himself. For example, chemistry is not so important. I'm gonna study sociology. And for that, he changed his perspective to think in that way.
Oh, and time. Good timing. Nice job on the timing. Very good. Okay, all right. Now that was much better. Okay. All right. You had an introductory sentence. You used 1 or 2 signal phrases, like for example, and after that, some good vocabulary. He changed his perspective. That is groups of words. All right. More important than actual individual vocabulary, or as how you use the vocabulary together. So that was definitely much better. If you're talking about the past, you should use, okay, he can't change his behavior. Okay, he couldn't change his behavior.
Okay.
Another thing you did, an improvement there, Diana, you followed the verb tense of the question. Very good. We're learning things. Excellent. This is noticeable. Actually, this answer was much more in line with what they want to hear. This was actually a very good answer. Okay. And you used the time. You did a lot of things right here. All right. This might be a borderline. You're getting close to a 4 there. Okay. You're doing everything right. The organization, the introduction, using the whole amount of time, following the verb tense, all those things. All right. Good job. Nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, which one do you got? We probably have time to try one more. What do you? Since there's only the 2 of you, do you want to try? Do you want to try another conversation or another lecture? What's your vote, Juan Carlos?
Maybe another conversation.
Diana?
Sí, okay, conversation.
Conversation? All right, conversation it is. The vote is in. Okay, here we go. We're going to hustle right along here. I'm going to read it. All right. Evening computer classes may be added. The computer department is considering offering evening classes in the fall. The proposal to add the classes is a response to student complaints that daytime computer classes have become increasingly overcrowded and there are no longer enough computers available. The department has decided that despite some added expense, the most cost-effective way of addressing this problem is by adding computer classes in the evening. It is hoped that this change will decrease the number of students enrolled in day classes and thus guarantee individual access to computers for all students in computer classes. Okay, there it is. Now, Now the listening, okay? Whoops, give me half a sec. Okay.
Now listen to two students discussing the article.
I just don't think this will work.
Why not?
Because it's not going to solve the problem. Students are busy at night. I mean, we have jobs, families, clubs, social events. Most of us already have something to do every single night of the week.
I see your point. I sure couldn't fit anything into my schedule during the week. I've got swimming practice most nights.
Right. And as far as expense goes, I think they're going about it the wrong way. I mean, it costs money to hire more teachers and keep the academic building open later, which is a lot more expensive than just simply buying more computers.
More computers?
That's right. Computer prices have come way down the past few years, so the department won't have to spend as much now as they did in the past. Besides, the computer department classrooms, you know, the rooms themselves, they're actually very big. There's plenty of space to add more computers.
Did you guys get that?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, more or less. Okay.
More or less, more or less.
More or less. All right. Well, the question is obviously predictable. The man disagrees with the announcement that the university has made. Why does he disagree, and what are his reasons? The question is always the same here. Okay. So you know the question before you ever take the test. Okay. Who wants to go first? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a tiger by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. Y-O-U spells you, and that means you are it. Okay, Diana, go ahead.
Okay. The listening is about two students disagree with the new offering of the computer department because they say that the people is very busy. They have social events, they have to work. For example, the girl says that she have swimming practice. For them, maybe could be more expensive. They suggest the computer department, could be buy more computers because the rooms are very big and there is space for that.
Okay. Okay. The information was all in there. The information was correct with supporting information. Very good. Supporting information, as in talking about the woman says that she has swim practice. Supporting information, as in saying the computer room is actually very big. That's very important. Okay. Good job. I have basically two critiques. One is just start with an introductory sentence saying something like the university has announced that they will be adding computer classes this fall in the evening. That's it. A quick reference to the reading to start question 3. Okay, this is certainly not going to hurt you. Is definitely going to help you as far as your score.
I don't have to talk about only of the conversation. I have to talk of the reading ever?
No, no, no. One sentence, one fast sentence,
only.
one simple sentence to
Okay.
introduce what the problem is, because the reading is always introducing the problem.
Okay.
So, no, 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 no. I'm not, absolutely, the question is about 5 seconds you're spending on the reading, 55 seconds you're spending on the conversation.
Okay.
No, 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 no. But you have to reference the reading because the reading is the problem. Thus, you are making a topic sentence to introduce the whole thing you're talking about. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Right. Okay, and the question, I should have played the question for you, possibly my fault. You were referencing it, they say, and you're, okay, maybe not a big problem because they were pretty much in agreement. But the question is always going to be the man says, the woman says. The woman disagrees. The man agrees with the announcement. Maybe they agree. In some cases, they will be agreeing, not disagreeing. In any case, the question number 3 always refers to one of them. So your response, you should be talking about, he says.
Okay.
All right. He says that, okay, no one has time for classes in the evenings. And then if you want to add your point, the woman says, the woman agrees and actually adds the point that she has swim class every night. Okay. All right. Still a very good answer. Still, you're definitely improving. Definitely better than the first time. Juan Carlos, you want to give it a try?
Okay.
Right.
The computer department has announced they're going to increase computer classes, but at the evening, because they had some problems of overcrowded classes. So this guy is this guy disagrees because they said people don't have time at night, and maybe it's better to buy more computers. And his friend, she says she had the same problem because she had swimming classes at night. Another thing he says is nowadays computers are cheaper, so it's easier solution to buy more computers.
Okay. Well, that was about 1,000,000 times better, Juan Carlos. Okay. Yeah, okay. Basically, that's it. Now, your one problem there is you would have run out of time. However, However, here's your problem is not that much of a problem. If you are clearly very well organized and it's obvious the flow of your conversation, you're dealing with the information in the same flow that it was presented to you, and your organization is very good. Guess what? Even if you don't finish saying everything you want to say, you can still get a perfect score. All right?
Okay.
So, actually, you would like to get all that information in. That would pretty much guarantee a perfect score. If you can't, don't worry about it too much. It's not the end of the world. You could still end up doing very well. All right, you know what? We still have time. You guys did so much better and we went so much faster. Maybe we could try one more lecture.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Why not?
Well, because I gotta go.
You got to go? Okay. Bye, Juan Carlos.
Unfortunately.
All right.
So, see you. Thank you.
All right. See you, Juan
Thank
Carlos.
you.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Verbal and nonverbal communication. All right. Let's try one more here. Okay. Actually, my voice is tired. Diana, can you read this?
Okay, I read. Verbal and non-verbal communication. When we speak with other people face to face, the non-verbal signals we give, our facial expressions, hands, gestures, body movements, and tone of voice, often communicate as much as or more than the words we utter. When our non-verbal signals, which we often produce unconsciously, agree with our verbal message, the verbal message is innocent and supported, made more convincing. But when they conflict with the verbal message, we may be communicating an entirely different and more accurate message than what we intend.
Okay. Enhanced. Made better, clearer.
Enhance.
Yeah. And hand gestures.
Gestures.
Gestures with a J sound. Yeah, okay. Moving your hands to communicate. Okay. All right. Let's listen to what the professor has to say. Hang on.
Now listen to part of a lecture on this topic in a psychology course.
Last month, my favorite uncle paid me a surprise visit. I hadn't seen him in many years. The doorbell rang, I opened the door, and there was Uncle Pete. Now, I'm sure when I saw him, I said something like, "Uncle Pete, what a surprise! How nice to see you." Anyway, my wife was standing next to me, and according to her, I wasn't really aware of this, my eyes got really wide, and I broke into a huge big smile. She said I was actually jumping up and down like a little boy. Well, anyway, later that evening, Uncle Pete told me how very, very good he felt when he saw how happy I was to see him. But compare that with this. My daughter, she's 6. We were building a birdhouse together last week, and I was showing her how to use a hammer and nail. And of course, stupid me, I wasn't being very careful, and I smashed my thumb with the hammer. Boy, it hurt. I almost felt like screaming, but I didn't want to upset my daughter, so I said, "Don't worry, honey, it's nothing." Meanwhile, I was shaking my hand as if that would stop my thumb from hurting, and my face was contorted in pain. My voice was trembling, too. So even though I told my daughter I was okay, I'm sure she didn't believe me, because she kept asking me if I was okay.
Okay. Now the question.
Explain how the examples from the professor's lecture illustrate the relationship between verbal and nonverbal communication.
Okay.
Can I listen again? The second part is difficult to me.
Okay, but then you won't have time to answer because class will be over.
Or I talk better.
Okay,
I talk
I can tell you what the professor said. It's very simple. I met my uncle, and when I met him, I was so happy to see him. I jumped up and down. My eyes got wide. My breath quickened. My wife said I looked like a child, like a small, excited child. Later, my uncle told me that he was so glad that I was happy to see him. And then he says, compare this to a second example where I was building a birdhouse with my daughter, and I hit my thumb with a hammer. I did not want to upset my daughter, so I told her not to worry. It didn't hurt at all. But at the same time, I was shaking my hand. My face was contorted and twisted, and my voice was actually shaking. I know my daughter did not believe what I was saying to her. That's it.
Okay.
Okay, so the question is, how does his examples explain verbal versus nonverbal communication?
Okay. The text is about two examples of verbal and nonverbal communication. The first example is about when the man meet his uncle and that he doesn't say in many years. Her face is very surprised. Her wife says him that his eyes are, and he has a big smile, and he was jumping like a little boy. And the second example is about his daughter. I don't understand that part. I can't listen.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, let's talk about the introduction. It is slightly different than question 3. In question 4, you're going to combine the reading, and because the question is explain how the professor's example explains the reading. All right. So the professor gives 2 examples from his personal life to explain verbal versus nonverbal communication. Okay. And then, all right, your first example was good. You have to be careful about her and his. You're saying her wife. Obviously, you mean his wife. Be careful about pronouns. Okay, his uncle he doesn't see in many years. It should be he hasn't seen in many years. All right. A couple small grammatical errors. The second part was about his daughter, who his daughter could see that he was in pain. He hit his thumb with a hammer, which is obviously extremely painful. He was lying to his daughter with his voice, telling her it didn't hurt. But clearly, when you hit yourself in the thumb with a hammer, you're showing body language, which is quite obvious that you are lying, that in fact you are in a great deal of pain. Okay, that's basically it. We're over time, and I am very late for my next class. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Hope I see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, 5 and 6.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye, Diana. Take care.